Hello and welcome to the Tech Talk series from Quadrant Knowledge Solutions, where we discuss and deliberate and brainstorm on the emerging technologies in the information technology area. So today we are going to talk on the changes in the market dynamics and the customer requirements and more importantly, the supply chain disruptions which are happening since the last decade. And of course, how to address the complexity of picking, packing, and distribution processes with possible technology solutions. So I'm happy to welcome the esteemed speakers of today's episode, Mr. Carl Oreback, who is the Senior Solutions Consultant at Kerber Supply Chain Software, and Mr. Shay, Hirji, who is the Director of Information Technology, Quality and Control at Nassau Provisions Kosher Foods. Okay, so I will start with Carl first. Carl, there has been, if you notice, there has been a huge disruption in the supply chain all over the world, and at the same time, the market dynamics and the customer requirements have also changed a lot. So, how is Körber supply chain software is helping its customers to tackle these challenges, especially addressing the complexity of picking, packing, and distribution processes?
Yeah, great question there, Shekhar. It certainly has been a very challenging and disruptive last couple of years for a number of reasons. And supply chain's kind of been in the middle of a lot of that, right? So I think to kind of at the core of it, what we do at Kerber Supply Chain Software is we really believe in partnering with our customers to navigate these challenges together. And to that, we like to bring our global team of supply chain experts so that we can provide that advice, that best practice expertise. And we like to couple that with really our wide technology portfolio. So that allows us to go in and tailor a solution based on particular requirements or challenges. And we're not kind of going in with a specific solution in mind and just trying to find a problem for it. And those solutions range from kind of what we've been doing for decades in that warehouse management system area, also on the warehouse control system side, starting to leverage a lot more of simulation. I think with the rapid changes we're seeing in the market, being able to simulate potential future scenarios can be very advantageous. And of course, adding to that is really those technologies that we can provide, like voice, like our autonomous mobile robots, to address certain specific challenges, labor shortages, accuracy requirements, etc. And I think really that innovation side of it is really the core of it. And I think it's something that we're gonna, well, I know we're certainly gonna keep pushing that in the coming years, expanding our portfolio, and finding new and exciting solutions that we can work with our customers to help address current and future challenges.
Interesting. Okay, with this, I will now come to Shay. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
Yes, Shay, no problem.
Shay. Okay,
Yep.
okay. Nassau Provisions specializes in the distribution of specialty and general groceries to supermarkets, restaurants, and C-stores. So, what kind of challenges does your business encounter with in general, and what kind of solutions normally you look for to overcome these kind of challenges?
Sure. So challenges specific to our organization overall was really based around maturity of our processes. Nassau Provisions itself as a company started as a family-owned business. It's still family-owned, but as they grew, there became a need for the operation itself to have a lot more structure. And that's when we started turning to look at technology to help create that stability of a reliable process that we are able to execute daily. But so that's on the business, our business company side. But overall, in general, our business itself, we offer next day delivery. So for us, we have a lot of late processing of orders. Other challenges for us are Passover season is a big season for us because we specialize in kosher food, and we have products that come in that have similar UPCs. So we need, consideration for the system to be able to handle the same UPC number with two different product IDs. So the rate at which we turn our inventory as well also adds a level of complexity. And as we've seen our growth over the last 4 years, Körber's definitely been there to kind of support us, but also was like flexible enough to adapt to our needs over the course of those 4 years.
Okay. Yeah, that's quite a good observation on the challenges. So, Carl, I just want to know how exactly your partnership with the Nassau started, and like what kind of information you tried to collect it on the base of like what kind of solutions you need to offer to them. So, how exactly this partnership started, and when exactly it started?
Yeah, so I believe, and Shay, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it was in 2018 when you kind of identified the need to implement a WMS. I think prior to that, you were kind of interacting directly with your ERP system. But as you were growing and seeing some of those challenges, you kind of saw that as the next step. As I understand it, it was between yourself and Al kind of taking that on and looking for the right solution for your team to keep growing. You settled on the Kerber warehouse edge solution. Really, I think it was based on kind of those core sets of functionality within that solution, and also being able to work with Kerber's partner Frontline Systems as a VAR to get that implemented and get that customized to where it was doing what you needed it to do. And yeah, was there any? Sorry, I thought you were going to add something to that, Shay.
Oh, I mean, I definitely can if you'd like me to. That was exactly well said. I think that when we did the WMS first, we found comfort, and we relied on not only Frontline Systems but Körber as a company, and we felt safe with them to embark on this new technology. And so having had that experience and saw our success with the WMS implementation, going or partnering with Körber for the voice add-on was really like a no-brainer for us. I had the benefit of joining the Elevate conference that same year. I believe it was 2018, or it could be 2019, excuse me. And saw firsthand from other companies what their experience was like using voice and how it added value to their process. And so, yeah, for us, it was really just the next logical step to make.
Yeah, and we worked together, the Kerber team, obviously Shay and his team at Nassau, and the Frontline team last year to get the implementation done. It was a pretty quick implementation, and we're able to kind of take the core voice picking module and add some pretty innovative add-ons and enhancements to that, specifically based on the requirements of Nassau. So I think a great example of that, Shay, is how we allocate work to associates now, where that used to be a very manual process. Now that's all automatic, and you basically just ask the device for your next bit of work, and it gets printed at the nearest printer. So I think that was a very cool little add-on that we did.
Yes, just to take that one step further, because it was a big realization for us when we were able to eliminate a whole job function that someone had of distributing work, and now that whole process was automated. The other thing to mention is that when we started with WMS, we had upwards of 29 pickers. We now have 10, all who pick using the voice application. The pick rates went from barely 50 an hour to well above 175 per hour. So we've seen tremendous improvements in not only efficiency, but also accuracy, because we've also, part of that implementation with voice was applying case labels to our cases as we pick. So now that they were hands-free, we had the ability to, now have the case labels applied, which helps increase the accuracy of counts of cases that are being selected. So there was a variety of benefits that we've realized after, after everyone was formally on the new process. I should also point out that the flexibility that Körber allowed for was a great benefit to us at the time for a successful implementation. And more specifically, what I mean by that is we were able to have a dual process for our rollout. So we did have some pickers training on voice, simultaneously still picking with the scanner, and being able to kind of have a hybrid of process for picking. We were able to train effectively and make sure that people were comfortable with a new methodology and technology for picking. And it allowed us, again, a lot more time to ease into that that changeover.
So apart from addressing the problems or whatever challenges you had earlier, do you think there are certain trends in the market that drove the need to use the solutions from Körber?
Is it directed towards me? Sure.
Yeah, I just want to know.
Yep. Yes,
Yeah,
I do.
I
So, yep. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I just want to understand. I hope you understood the question. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So I believe you're asking what does our business or our customers require of us that we needed to turn to Körber for help to accommodate that need? Is that the question?
Yeah, partially right. What I want to know is, apart from the challenges which you had mentioned about the operations, are there any trends in the market, like the competitive pressure or peer pressure, or the certain changes in the market that made you to go with Körber for certain solutions, certain technology solutions?
I don't know that there was, well, yes, demand is one of them. I mean, we put in the WMS at an appropriate time that allowed us to really ramp up our operation during COVID. Clearly, we had a much more higher demand for product throughout that time. And, the need to stay competitive was a big, a big reason why we turned to WMS. We needed to make sure that we had an operation that catered to our customers' needs. They wanted, what they ordered on time and the right product. So, coming from, I should say, a paper-based system to a automated system gave us that support. I'm not really sure if I'm answering your question 100%, but feel free to direct me if I need to touch on something a little further.
Oh, yes, yes, you perfectly had answered it.
Okay.
Yes. I would also like to know how was the overall experience in terms of training of your team?
So training, would you like me to stick towards voice or stick towards WMS or the both, or touch on both? Both, yeah,
both.
sure. So WMS was probably the biggest change. We really had to work hard at getting users to conform to a new process. We did a lot more reassuring that this change is a positive one. It took some time for a lot of users to buy into what this new process is instead of relying on what they do. Prior to the WMS implementation, we picked and shipped based on a lot of tribal knowledge. And so there was fear associated with that change because, some of our pickers were doing this for well over 10 years for us. And now, what they've come to rely on, we were taking away. So from a training standpoint, the WMS, I would say, was the biggest challenge. But through repetition, through reassurance, and through having people that really got involved with the warehouse directly to train them one-on-one helped with that process. With regards to voice, voice was a much easier methodology to roll out. It was a preferred method of picking by our pickers at this time. So that eased, I guess, the training effort. We did work through some challenges, but nothing that was in any way something that couldn't be overcome. And again, being able to have dual process for voice allowed us to give pickers more time to get comfortable with the new process as well.
Okay. So Carl, uh, going forward, how are you planning to take this partnership into the next level?
Yeah, good question. I want to call out and also thank Shay. He featured in a recent Elevate conference a couple of weeks ago, and it was a very good conversation between him and Paul Roberts from our marketing team. Specifically, I think there are always room for enhancement and expanding the solution. We have a team that actually specializes in going in, meeting with our existing customers and looking at potential opportunities for expanding that solution. So that could be kind of taking it into another area. That could be expanding maybe the number of languages that we offer. So I think one thing here that could be added as well is that with this voice solution, we have it available both in English and Spanish. And that can be a great help when you're trying to find those new associates that are coming on. And that's something where we've seen in certain cases, maybe there's an influx of a specific nationality or specific speaker, and you can go in and you can add another language to help support that. And that's pretty straightforward with the Kerber voice platform. And then really, as our customer base keeps growing and as we keep growing that partnership with them, there's going to be new challenges coming along. If that, maybe branching out to multiple locations, maybe taking on bigger accounts internally and needing to scale up and have flexible options for scaling. So I think there's a whole range of ways that we can keep providing that level of guidance to our customers and Nassau as a very close partner of ours.
That's great. That's great. Also, would you like to like what we can expect from Körber supply chain in the next few years? Like, would you like to highlight maybe some major trends in the autonomous mobile robots?
Yeah, sure. That's actually an area that I have the fortune to work very closely in. So I think we're seeing some very exciting things happening right now within the supply chain vertical. Automation is a big part of that. I think what the autonomous mobile robots provide is the ability for organizations that maybe wouldn't have considered more traditional automation due to the capital expenditure required, now have the ability to look at some of these new technologies and actually be able to roll those out. There's flexible models, RAS, robotics as a service, is one thing. And I think we're going to keep seeing a lot more happening there on the software side of that. So optimization within that execution on the robots and potentially different robotic systems working in tandem at a site. That's something that we're already starting to see and implement. I think also a lot of the work we're doing on our platform is very exciting. We're looking kind of adding modules into key areas, transportation, order management, just to kind of help our customers tie different systems together. And instead of having to go out and have kind of piecemeal different solutions out there, being able to go to the one platform that kind of ties all of that together and through kind of a unified control system also ties all those execution modes together, be that voice, be that AMR, be that traditional RF guns, or maybe a combination of all of those. I think what we're seeing is kind of that increase in orchestration and the ability to adapt new technologies into supply chain.
Yeah, that's interesting. We can expect a lot of new things from Körber in the future, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, Shay, Like, do you think that there will be more applications or processes where you will be like getting associated with Körber in future?
Yes, I do. I know that we've discussed using voice in potential other operating processes within our warehouse. Right now, we only use it for picking, but we had conversations around potentially using it for put away, receiving, and as well as truck loading. I know we've also been doing some research into AMRs and trying to, get a proof of concept together to see if it's something that works for our environment. But we definitely would be turning to Körber for all of these needs for sure.
That's great. And overall, how was your experience in working with Körber, not just in terms of partnership, but also in terms of whatever solutions you got from Körber, and in terms of the execution and implementation?
Overall, the experience has been very positive for us. I should have mentioned that, because of our success with the WMS, when we rolled it out, we were able to move our facility to a new distribution center that's double, almost triple the size of where we were. So with that came all new processes to support the new environment, and Körber solution as the backbone of our operations was able to adapt and change as we needed it to accommodate the new environment. We were able to add new processes that we didn't have before. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is the ability for Körber to grow with us allows us to continuously get value out of their products.
Okay, that's it from my side. In fact, it was a wonderful discussion, and thanks for putting a lot of thoughts and your observations on this topic. In fact, I could update my knowledge also with this interaction. Yes, thanks to both of you.